Okay, so welcome everyone again. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to be here today to give information about our university, Koç University, with the help from the Ministry of Defense as part of the Presidential Scholarships Program for prospective applicants to undergraduate bachelor programs. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking a little bit about Turkey as a place to study, then about Istanbul, which is the city in which our university is located. And then we will talk more specifically about our institution, Koç University, the programs that we offer at the undergraduate or bachelor's level, the admission requirements, scholarship opportunities, and then have time to answer specific questions you may have. My name is Melissa Abache. I am the Director of International Student Recruitment here at Koç University. I have been at the university for almost 10 years now. And I'm also joined by Mr. Tony Gassana from the Presidential Scholarships Program. Would you like to say anything to the participants, Mr. Gassana? I think I can, let's see. Can you unmute yourself? I'm not sure what I did. I made.
Sorry.
Yes.
So I was saying we appreciate the opportunity to give us more information on opportunities offered by Koç University. We did appreciate the previous online session for the PhD and master's candidates. So we are really looking forward to get to know how we can also get more slots for the undergrad candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. The candidates will be joining. They are all around the country. We are not in the same place, but it's a good thing we recorded this so that I could share with them what we discussed and the requirements that they have to fulfill for us to get successful applications in the future. Thank you.
Exactly. And just for a bit of background context, we are also very happy that we now have the first two students. They are completing master with thesis and master non-thesis programs at our university in the areas of cybersecurity and industrial engineering. So there are our first two students from Rwanda, and specifically they have also been supported through the scholarship program. So we're looking forward to welcoming also in the future undergraduate students, and that's why we're here. Okay, so let's get started. I just want here to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why international students choose to come to Turkey for their undergraduate degrees as well as graduate degrees. First of all, that Turkey is following the education system used in Europe. So we are aligned with something called the Bologna system. It's because of an agreement that was signed many years ago. So it means that our program duration, the way that students are taught and evaluated, and the way that we have the credit system is in alignment with that of Europe. And that gives some benefits if later on you want to apply for further education programs in Europe or even in other countries, but especially in Europe. It means that your degree from a Turkish university is easily recognized and accredited in other countries in Europe. Another big advantage is that there are several universities, including Koç University, that offer all or parts of their programs in English. So it means you do not need to learn Turkish in order to come and study here. One of the biggest advantages, of course, is that in terms of the living cost, Turkey offers a more affordable living cost when you compare them to most capital cities in Europe, European countries, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, Canada, or Australia, or even other destinations. And also compared to some more traditional study destinations, it's a slightly easier visa application process to enter Turkey as a student. We also have a national scholarship, which is hosted or managed by a specific ministry of Turkey, and it's open to all international students. So I'm just giving you the information in case you're interested. It's called Turkish Scholarships, or Türkiye Bursları in Turkish. And it gives scope to study a bachelor's degree in Turkish universities. Most of the universities are state universities, publicly funded, in which they're offering the programs in Turkish. So in that case, you do need to learn Turkish. But if you come to study in a university like Koç, in which all of our programs are in English, then that's not required. Another kind of, or the last two bullet points that you see on the screen are related to why, for example, me as a foreigner who has been living here for about 12 years, why I like living here and why I want to continue living here, which is Istanbul, Turkey, and particularly Istanbul are very multicultural, cosmopolitan places to live because there's people from over 100 countries, and in some neighborhoods or areas of the city, you can find people from everywhere around the world. And in terms of the cultural activities, food options, and just people that you're going to meet and become friends with are coming from many different countries. And Turkish people are also very hospitable, very welcoming towards international students. Some things have changed in the past few years, sadly, because of political kind of issues, but overall, I would still say that it is a fairly welcoming country for international students. Istanbul itself is always described as a bridge, as a city that bridges the East and the West, because also geographically, half of the city is on the European continent and the other half is on the Asian continent. And it has a lot of very rich history, a lot of cultural richness that students benefit from in their time here. I've put here some resources in case you are curious and you want to start checking out what it's like to live here as a student. You can see those websites later after today's session. And just for information, so Turkish is the official language of the country. We do recommend to students to learn some basic survival level of Turkish because most people outside of corporate or academic environments, they won't speak English to a very high proficiency level. So it will become a bit hard to communicate and make yourselves understood outside of the university, let's say. So learning a little bit of Turkish helps in terms of your social activities and making friends and just being independent. As I mentioned, cost of living can vary. Right now, for international students, we're advising them to consider a budget of between $15,000 to $20,000 per year. This has increased quite a lot compared to previous years because of inflation. Of course, there are some people who are able to manage a whole year of rent, food, transport, health insurance, clothes, and so on for much less than that. But that's just what we have recommended in terms of especially when you consider rental prices in areas closer to our university. Just as there's so many things that I can tell you about Istanbul, but we're not going to have enough time. So we like to describe also Istanbul as a puzzle, right? If you come here as a tourist, you may be able to see perhaps the historical part of the city and get a sense of the history and the centuries and centuries of different civilizations that have been here. But if you come to other parts of the city, you will realize it's quite an active financial kind of hub within the Near East and the Central Asia region. If you go to other parts, you will realize how vibrant it is in terms of cultural activity. So, it's a puzzle that has many, many different parts. It's a city of about 16 million people, so quite large, with a very good public transit system, which makes it easy as an international student to move around. You do not need to have a car to live here. Distances are long though. So for example, many of our students who come who are not staying on campus dormitories, they commute between 45 minutes to 1 hour to come to campus every day. So that's something to factor in as well. In terms of our university is called Koç. What Koç means in Turkish, it means ram. And that's the significance of the logo of the university that you see on the screen on the corner, top right-hand corner. And it's a university that was set up 30 years ago as part of the Koç Foundation. The Koç Foundation is one of the largest philanthropic organizations in Turkey, and one of their mission or areas of work is education, and our university is the biggest philanthropic, let's say, investment of the foundation. When you mention the name Koç in Turkey, people immediately know that it refers also to the Koç holding of companies, which is a very large holding that was established many decades ago. They currently produce about 15% of the gross domestic product of the country. So, and they span a lot of different industries. That does bring some clear, concrete benefits to our graduates in terms of job opportunities after graduation, opportunities for internships during their studies, and just a very wide network of alumni who are working in companies in this holding, as well as other companies inside of Turkey and outside of Turkey. We are a research-intensive university. What that means is that we put a lot of emphasis on doing world-class research that has an impact not only in Turkey, but also worldwide to tackle some of the key issues and key questions that we all have to deal with now and in the future. We're also a mid-sized university, so we have a student body of about 8,000 plus students. That's not going to grow too much in the next 5 or 6 years. And most of those students are undergraduate bachelor students. 10% of our students are international, coming from, as of this year, I think it's 86 countries. And our goal as a team specifically is to always increase the diversity of our student body. That's why I'm also here, because we would really like to have more students from Rwanda. So I hope some of you will end up here in our campus next year or in the following years. The key ingredient to our secret sauce, let's say, it's our professors. So the university puts a lot of effort and resources in finding the best professors from around the world who can come and teach here. So teach and do research and also do community kind of engagement and services for the university. I will tell you a little bit more about the professors in just a bit. And the other thing is that at Koç University, we have a very low student-faculty ratio. What that means in practice for you as a future student is that your classroom sizes are going to be quite small. So typically one section in a second year course, it's 25, maximum 35 students. In the first year, there may be some classes that everyone has to take where you will see bigger sections of about 70 students, but typically it's a very hands-on boutique type learning experience where your professors know you. You cannot sit in the back and just hide and never talk in class. I mean, that's not the experience that we're offering here. And we're also quite similar in terms of our structure, the way that we teach, evaluate, provide student support services to that of an American university. So we are structured around 7 colleges. We offer undergraduate programs, which are 4 years in duration, and as I said, in English. And we offer undergraduate students the opportunity to develop their research skills even during those 4 years through participation as research assistants in research labs or research centers. I talked about our professors. This is just a kind of snapshot of where most of them have obtained their PhD degrees and where they had experience as postdoctoral researchers or lecturers or assistant professorships or as associate professorships, and then they came and joined our university. So you really are getting a very high quality of scientists who are coming and then teaching in our undergraduate courses. Because of this, we have been able to, in a very short time, considering that we are a young university, which is now 30 years old, to become the top-ranked university in Turkey. It's usually us and another university, which are both very good, of course, but we're usually ranked first in Turkey, and now we're in the top 400 universities worldwide, according to the Times Higher Education and QS University World Rankings. When it comes to specific disciplines or subjects, we're also now in the top universities worldwide. For example, I know a lot of you would be interested in science, technology, engineering, or maths type related programs, and some of you may be interested in health sciences programs. So for example, in that regard, we, in the latest Times Higher Education subject rankings for 2024, we were ranked in the top 250 universities worldwide and first in Turkey. In terms of our campus, it is a very beautiful campus. It's a suburban setting. So We are not close to any kind of crowded, dense urban areas. We are in a district called Sarrière in the European side of the city. We have the Black Sea just behind our campus, and we're just surrounded by a forest area. So what that means is that we do have to provide everything you need within campus in terms of dormitories, bank branch, supermarket, bookshop, library, what is it called? Barbers, everything you need, we provide it on campus. So the idea is that during the week, you're spending most of your time, going to your classes, joining the student club activities or sports teams that we have on campus. And during the weekends, then people use their free time to explore the city, go to other cities in Turkey, and really enjoy, living in Istanbul. So it is a very peaceful, quiet, kind of clean air, safe campus that you join, where, as I said, we provide lots of different facilities. This is just to give you an idea of where we are. As I said, Istanbul has two sides. One is on the Asian continent, one on the European continent. We are on the European continent side of the city towards the north. And I invite you, have a look on Google Maps to see where we are so that you have an idea where our university is located. It is a very active campus in terms of student-led activities. We have about 80 student clubs that they range in everything like hiking, photography, economic thought, debates. So anything you're interested in, we probably have a student club that is also interested in that. And they organize activities each semester. So in the fall semester or in the spring semester, so that our students have lots of activities to take part in. We also have lots of sports teams. So in case you're interested, you can also join those sports teams if you already know or practice a specific sport, or if you've never tried something and you want to learn during your university years, then that's a chance to also do that. And importantly, we also provide a lot of support to international students. Specifically, we have a dedicated team of 3 staff members that they help you before you arrive in terms of knowing how and when or where to apply for your visa to enter Turkey as a student. After you arrive, how to apply for your student residence permit, how to register your address, how to open a bank account, all of these bureaucratic kind of things that might be a bit overwhelming when you first come. There's a team that is going to provide you a lot of resources in terms of website guides, webinar sessions, and once you're here, one-on-one consultations as needed. And they do a lot of social integration activities so that you don't feel isolated or alone when you first come. So all international undergraduate students, before you arrive, we invite you to join a mobile application where you start to meet your future classmates as well as current students of the university. And you're also paired with a specific international or Turkish student who is going to be your buddy, like your friend that you can ask practical questions that you can ask. And the idea is that when you first come to campus on the first day, you're not completely alone, that you don't know anybody. You have already made friends online through this mobile application and by talking to your buddy. Right. This is just some information about visa and student residence permit, but I think this may be a bit too early to talk about this. In terms of accommodation, we know that this is an important consideration. So we do offer campus dormitories to undergraduate students, international undergraduate students. Those dormitories are offered in different room types. So it can be a double, triple, 4 or 5 person room. There is the prices for the rooms vary according to whether they are in our main campus or in another dormitory campus that we have about 7 minutes from our main campus. The annual costs of the dormitories also include all utilities as well as cleaning services, and you have common areas where you have, for example, laundry room, kitchen, lounge, computer areas, and so on. So you can check out more details about our dormitories from the website that it's shown on the screen, where you can see kind of 360 pictures of each room type. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube that our students have made. I have to say our dorm room space standards are quite small. So you are going to be a bit cramped. And if you're not used to sharing your living spaces with other people, that may be a bit shocking at first, but it is a process. And we also provide you with support in terms of how to adapt to that process. And if, for example, you don't get along with your roommates, there is an option to also ask for a room change and swap rooms and so on. So we do have mechanisms to deal with potential issues of living in shared accommodation. Now onto the academic side of things. We, as I said, we are offering undergraduate bachelor programs in 7 different colleges, which you can see on the screen now. Each of those programs are 4 years in duration, with the exception of medicine, which is longer. Medicine is 6 years. And all of them are offered in English, with the exception of law. So law is not a program that we really kind of promote to international students, because it's more suitable for Turkish students who want to then practice law here in Turkey. But in terms of some of the things you may want to know more about, in engineering, for example, we offer 5 engineering branches in chemical and biological engineering, computer, electrical, electronics, industrial, and mechanical engineering. And then we have also basic sciences programs, which not many people think about, but I think they're quite valuable degrees if you know how to do it properly, let's say, in chemistry, physics, mathematics, molecular biology, and genetics. We also have a very, very good nursing program, which is 4 years in duration, and it gives you a degree as a bachelor's of science in nursing. With that degree, you can apply, for example, for jobs back home in Rwanda or in Turkey or in other European countries. And it's a program where we're actively trying to increase the number of international students. And the dean of the School of Nursing has asked us to really find very good students and provide full scholarships. So if you or someone you know is interested in the field of nursing, please do let them know about this opportunity, because it could mean studying completely for free for 4 years and getting a very good degree that has a lot of job opportunities after graduation. Right, so I'm going to speed up through the next few slides so that we can then talk about the application requirements and how to apply. Just as a summary, what happens after you become a student is we give you in the first year a lot of support to make sure that that adaptation from high school into university life is as smooth as possible. So we include a mandatory course called Academic and Life Skills. And the idea is that it teaches what it says on the title, right? So it's about how to navigate your time, how to manage your time, stress, how to work in teams, how to do public speaking, how to communicate with professors, and so on. We also, we have course tutoring sessions. So if you're struggling with a particular course, let's say Physics 101 or Calculus 106 or something like that, then we have students who give their time to tutor other students to help them solve specific parts of problems or a whole problem set that they haven't really been able to understand. So that's the type of support that we provide to students. And also our Career Development Center starts to work with you from the first year so that you know how you're going to navigate the next, those 4 years, so that by the end, you're very well prepared to apply for jobs, to have a CV, and that you know how to do interviews, how to do skills assessment tests, and other, things that you need to know as you're starting to look for your first job after graduation. One thing that we are specifically unique within Turkey is that we offer a liberal arts education. What that means is, if you become a Koç University engineering student, for example, you're studying industrial engineering, you will still have to take some courses in the first 2 semesters that are not directly related to industrial engineering. So you will take some courses that are about humanities, about social sciences, about ethics, about economic and strategic analysis. And the idea is that it gives you an overview of what other disciplines and what other professionals do and how they understand the world, and that's going to make you a better or more well-rounded professional who can operate in very different contexts. These are just some examples of the courses that I'm talking about when I say humanities or when I say ethics. This is what we mean. There's a lot more courses. This is just a very quick sample. We also offer something which is very important. For example, let's say that you're interested specifically in aerospace engineering, because I know a lot of you may want to think about a career in the in the armed forces or in the Navy, or some type of military career option after graduation. So what we have is track programs. What that means is that you are a mechanical engineering student, for example, and then you take specific courses which are related to aerospace engineering or mechatronics and robotics, for example, and you successfully pass all of those courses. It means that when you graduate, your bachelor's degree is going to say you're a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering, and your transcript is going to say that you have a track in aerospace engineering. Similarly, we have track programs in computer engineering for artificial intelligence, cryptography, security and theory, computer system networks and software. So you can see the whole list there, and this is also available on our website. So this is just to also let you know, in case you don't see a degree on our website of something you're interested in, we may be able to offer it as a track program. Okay, it means that you just take specific courses so that you have specialized knowledge in that area. Right. Before you graduate, so during the second and the fourth year of your university degree, you also have other opportunities besides your normal curriculum courses. So one of the things you can do, I mentioned track programs, you can also do a double major. What that means is that instead of one diploma, you will graduate with two diplomas. So for example, if you're a mechanical engineering student, you can do a double degree in electrical and electronics engineering. What's going to happen is that it's going to make the duration of your studies a bit longer. So instead of 4 years, you would graduate in maybe 5 years. But as I said, the big benefit is that you're going to have two diplomas and two full areas of knowledge that you're going to be graduating from. You can also do study abroad semesters. This means that you go to another university with which we have a partnership, and you take courses in that university, which we then recognize once you come back after one semester, and they're added to your record of subjects and grades. And that's a great opportunity to get to live and study in one more country besides Turkey. So Turkey is part of something called the Erasmus program. It's a program between all European countries to facilitate the mobility of students. So as a student, you can benefit from that and go for a semester abroad in one of our partner universities in Ireland, in Spain, in France, in Germany, in Netherlands, wherever you want in Europe. Of course, there are certain criteria that you have to meet in terms of your grade point average, and you have to do it after your second year. But it's a great opportunity that many of our undergraduate students use during the 4 years. You can also start to do internships. So there's a lot of things you can do basically as a student. One thing that helps to have, we're very proud of the fact that 95% of our undergraduate students, they receive job offers in the first 6 months. Out of those 95%, 64% got a job offer before or just as they were graduating in June of the year they graduate. This data comes from a survey that our career and alumni office does with our graduates 2 years after they have graduated, and they ask them, where are you working now? What are you doing? What was, exactly these sort of questions, like when did you get your first job offer? To how many jobs did you apply? How many offers did you receive? So they keep track of this, and they do these surveys every 2 years, and the information is available in our Career Development Center website. And it's because, as I said, our students do take a lot of opportunities to develop not only knowledge, but skills during the 4 years. Another thing they do very well is that they know how to network. So our Career Development Center, every semester, they're organizing events like the one that you see on the screen. This is an example that happened just this week, in which they bring companies to campus so that our students can meet with their HR teams and ask about internship opportunities and after graduation work opportunities, and they're actively looking for Koç University students. So during the semester there's kind of job fairs like this, but there's also panel activities where they say, for example, about working in management consultancy, working in the defense industry, working in the financial technology sector, working in the tourism sector. So they invite people from those industries, who many of them are alumni, as well as other speakers, and they share their experiences of what the industry is looking for, how to prepare yourself, how to look for internships, where to work, and so on. So we do really put a lot of emphasis on preparing students to be ready for the world of work after graduation. These are just some examples of what are the most common, let's say, fields and job kind of areas where our graduates work after graduation. Now, thank you so much for staying with me until now. So now we're going to talk a little bit about admissions and how to apply and how to have a good chance of being admitted to our university. So first thing to know is we only accept undergraduate students once a year, and that's for the fall intake. Okay, fall at Turkish universities means the semester that starts at the end of September or October, or early October. That's the fall semester. So all new students start during that semester. And to apply to be admitted to the university and start, for example, in fall 2024, we have an application period that starts in January, on the 1st of January, and closes in July. We sometimes, for some programs, offer some extensions that go into August. For medicine specifically, it's a shorter application period, and it's only for 1 month during the month of June. There is an application fee, but we can, for example, waive the application fee for candidates who are coming from specific scholarship programs. In this case, for example, the Presidential Scholarship Program, that would be okay. You just need to let us know so that on the system, this can be waived. And there's a lot of guidance and tutorials and videos on how to apply, how to prepare your documents and everything else on our international admissions website, which is shown there. It's international.ku.edu.tr. The application is done online. You do not need to email or send any documents, original or otherwise, to us. You just need to go to our online application system, which is apply.ku.edu.tr, and then you put all of your required information and you upload your documents, and I'll show you what happens after, right? So what happens is after you have submitted your application, the application is checked in terms of eligibility. Eligibility means that they're going to check that you have completed or will be completing the equivalent of a high school education, okay? In Turkey, for example, high school education means 4 years. So it's from the 9th until 3 years. So 9 to 12 years. But in some countries, we know that that's 3 years, in some others it's 4. So they just need to check if you have or will be completing before October 2024 your high school education, and that you have applied with one of the eligible test scores that we required and with a score above the minimum. If you are not meeting that first eligibility criteria, then you will be sent a rejection letter. But if you are meeting the first eligibility criteria, your application will be sent for evaluation to the admissions committee of the college. So for example, if you're applying for an engineering bachelor's degree, your application will be then reviewed by the assistant dean, the dean, and a professor from the department of that engineering branch. That they typically take about 3 weeks to be checking candidates that are submitting applications every month, okay? Once they make the decision, if the decision is to offer you, to accept you, to offer admission to the program, you will get an offer letter that also includes details of whether you have been awarded a tuition scholarship or not, okay? And I will talk now in a few minutes about the scholarships. If you decide to accept your offer, and if you don't have a full scholarship, if you have a partial scholarship, for example, then the tuition amount that you have to pay, you pay it, and then we provide you with an acceptance letter. With that acceptance letter, then you can apply for a student visa to enter Turkey and complete your enrollment process. The enrollment process is done online, so you do not need to be here in Istanbul to enroll as a new student, but we will let you know once you need to be here, so that you can participate in the onboarding or orientation week activities, and then to start your classes when the academic year starts. What's important to remember here is that it's a selective evaluation process and it's also holistic. What holistic means is that the decision to accept a student or reject a student is not made on the basis of one specific element, such as TOEFL or English test score or high school grades or something else. It's taking into account everything as a whole, right? So they're going to make sure that you have good grades from your high school education, that you have a good level of English, that you have a good score in terms of the eligible tests that we accept. And we also conduct a video interview so that your performance in that video interview is also taken into account. So I was jumping a little bit ahead, but when we look at the application requirements for our bachelor's program, there are some mandatory required documents, and then there are some optional documents. The mandatory documents are a standardized university admission exam, your official high school transcripts, your English proficiency exam results, and as I said, a video interview. The video interview is not live with a person that you're going to be talking to, but it's a recorded activity in which you are shown one question and you answer the question. The question is not going to be about physics or biology or anything like that. It may be a question such as what was the last book that you read and what did you think about it, or tell us about a challenge that you faced in your childhood or in your teenage kind of years, and how did you overcome that challenge, or what type of role do you like to play when you have to do a team project. It's questions more to basically confirm your level of English proficiency, specifically in speaking, and also for the college admissions committee to kind of have a bit of insight in terms of how you think and how you handle pressure a little bit. It's not the main kind of element that they take into consideration. So even if you get a bit nervous, if you stutter, if you this sort of thing, that's okay. They just want to kind of know a little bit about who you are. The optional documents, they're optional, but they're also important because, for example, if you want, you can include a motivation letter in which you explain why you want to apply for this bachelor's degree, what type of impact studying in our university or in Turkey would have for you and your future career or personal plans. If you have specific things you're very proud about that you have accomplished, or things you have, activities you have taken part in, you can talk about that in the motivation letter. The same thing, if you have teachers from your school, or if you have worked, or if you have done internships or volunteering or anything like that, and you have people who would like to provide recommendation letters for you, you can then also include that in the application letter by putting their name and their email address on the form, and then they receive a short form to fill out to recommend you. And as I said, if you have any achievements in terms of prizes, awards, participation in courses, attendance, anything you're very proud of that you thought, okay, this demonstrates that I'm a potentially good student for this university. Letters, you were featured in a website talking about your participation in something, anything you can highlight about your experience so far, you can include it in the application form as well. Okay, right. Now, this is the hard part. So besides your high school diploma, if you have a diploma already, and your transcripts, as well as an English test, we do ask students to provide one of the three international university admission exams that are shown on the screen. The most common test of our admitted students is the SAT exam, which is the one further on the left side. The acronyms there refer to each college. So for example, again, for engineering, let's say, which is CE, College of Engineering, you would need to obtain a score of 1,300 out of a total. The maximum score is 1,600. So you should aim to have a score of 1,300 or higher. For programs like nursing, for example, it's a bit lower, it's 1,200. What we see is that if you start to prepare yourself now, we are in November, for example, if you go to the official website of the SAT test, that test is offered 6 times a year outside of the United States. There are, as far as I know, there are test centers in Rwanda, but we can double check. And you register for the test and you say, okay, I'm going to take the test in March 2024. Okay, so you have approximately 4 or 5 months to prepare for the test. The test has two sections. One section is about reading and writing comprehension, not necessarily about English language reading and writing comprehension, but more generally, if you're able to understand university level text that you may need to read as a university student. And the other section is about mathematics, okay? So the mathematics part is going to ask some questions about algebra, some questions about calculus, about trigonometry, geometry, some statistics, and some probability. So most of the questions are going to be about things that you would have learned during your high school education, but there may be some that you maybe didn't kind of know that much about or didn't cover in your curriculum that much. So that's why it's important to take time to prepare for the test. There's a lot of free practice and training materials that are available for free on the official website of the SAT test. There's also something called Khan Academy, which they offer online free courses for students from any country, where you can start to test yourself to basically, if you're not very familiar with one maths topics or types of questions, then you go there and you start to refresh or learn from zero those questions. What we see is that typically students, when they take the test for the first time, they may not get, for example, 1,300 because maybe you're nervous. It's the first time you're taking a test that it's on a computer and you have a specific time to answer each question, right? So if you factor that in and you think, well, I may take the first test in March and then I can take it again in June, and in the June one, it's more likely that you're going to get a higher score because now you're more familiar and more comfortable and less nervous about taking the test. So that's a recommendation, that if you can do that, then to plan your studies and your preparation in that way. In terms of English proficiency exams, that's the other exam that you need to include. So it could be a TOEFL test, IBT. So home edition, unfortunately, is not accepted by our government, by the Turkish government. And also IELTS is not accepted by our government. However, we do have some flexibility in this regard, in that if you have taken another test that it's not shown here, so it could be Duolingo test, it could be, I don't know, that's the only one that comes to mind, do include it in your application so that we can see that you do have an English test. In some cases, what we're able to do is, from next year, this is a fairly new practice, then we will be able to give to some students, based on financial need, a voucher to take the TOEFL test here in Istanbul once they arrive in a test center in Istanbul, okay? But if you have already taken and have a valid test, or have already registered to take one of these tests, and you will be taking it before July next year, then that's great because you can include it in your application. We're getting to the end of this. Thank you so much for bearing with me. The tuition fees for our undergraduate program per academic year are $21,500. The tuition is paid in 2 installments. So half of this, so about $11,250 at the start of the fall semester, and the remaining $11,000 at the start of the second or spring semester. We do have scholarships, and we're very proud of the fact that we do give a lot of scholarships to international undergraduate students. So the types of scholarships that we offer can go from a full scholarship, meaning 100% tuition scholarship, which means that you do not pay any tuition for the 4 years of your bachelor's program, or 75% or 50% or 25%. For example, if you are awarded a 75% scholarship, it means that your yearly tuition fees are going to be about 5,000, I can't remember what, 5,200 something dollars, okay? And then per semester, that would be about 2,000 something dollars. So as long as you submit an application for admission to a program, you're also going to be evaluated for a scholarship. So there isn't a separate form, there isn't a separate timeline that you have to remember. You just apply for admission and automatically you're being evaluated also for a scholarship. The scholarships are based on academic merit, not financial need. If you want to include any information about specific conditions that you have of financial need, for example, if you have received already a scholarship for your high school education, you can mention that on your motivation letter and that it may be considered. But the main criteria is that if you're a very good student academically in terms of your high school grades and the test scores that you present in the application, the better chances you have of being awarded a full or partial scholarship. There isn't a specific GPA or exam score. So I know we do get a lot of questions like, what if I have 95% in my high school grades and I get an SAT score of 1,400, would that give me a scholarship? We cannot answer that question in advance because we are not the ones making the decision. The decision is made, as I said, by the admissions committee of the college. But the general principle is the better your high school grades and the better or the higher your test scores are, the more chances you have. We do provide partial scholarships to about 60% of all admitted students, so it's quite a high percentage. The scholarships cover only tuition, so they do not cover other expenses such as dormitories or food or books or anything like that. So that's something you need to keep in mind, that you would need to find the funding from another source, whether that's, for example, your government scholarship or other sources. And as I said, they cover 4 years of studies. These scholarships are available for all programs, including engineering, for example, nursing, business, and so on, but it doesn't include medicine. So we do not offer scholarships for our medicine program, okay? How can you let us know that you are a candidate or that you're also planning to apply or you have applied for the Presidential Scholarship Program? So in our application form, there is a specific section called Scholarship. And we ask you a couple of questions. We ask you, have you applied to the Turkish Scholarships Program? You can say yes or no. If you have, you just say yes, and then you put the number, your application number. And then we ask, have you applied to any other national or international scholarship programs? If you have applied then for the Rwanda Ministry of Defense, or if you want to call it Presidential Scholarship, you can mention that. It means that we're going to put a specific flag so that we know that these are a group of candidates that we will also check with Mr. Tony Gazana here and the relevant team. So, so that when they are after they are sent to the college evaluations committee, if the college decides to offer an admission, then we can then also consider the full scholarship because they're being also considered for the government scholarship, okay? Now, this is just a summary. I'm not going to go on about this, but this is just a summary of why you should choose our university for your undergraduate programs. This is our team. We're a small team, but we try to do our best to kind of support incoming, like new prospective applicant students the best way we can. In terms of going forward, you can contact me anytime. I will type my email address on the chat so that if you have any questions after today, you can also contact us. Sometimes it may be faster. You may get a faster response if you contact our team because we have more people basically monitoring that inbox. So I'm sharing the team email address here. We're also, of course, on social media, and I invite you to check out specifically our YouTube channel because we do have a lot of very informative videos from our students, from our professors about what it's like to study mechanical engineering. What are the things that you do as a mechanical engineering student or as an electrical and electronic student? So check it out because it can give you a better sense, and it may also help you to draft a very good motivation letter about why you want to study at the university. And in our website, as I said, we do have a lot of very detailed guidance on how to make a very strong application. So make sure that you take some time to read the website. If you have any questions as you're reading this, get in touch with us. And that's what I would advise, okay? So we have, let me see how we're doing on time. We're almost out of time. So let me just change here the settings so that you guys can open your microphones in case you have questions. So yes, if you have questions, you can type them on the chat if you tap on your screen, or if you want, you can also unmute your microphone and just ask us a question.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was really informative, and we really do appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
your presentations always make us feel closer to Kochi University.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I just have a question,
Mm-hmm.
which is on the application requirements.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of your presentation was clear and straight to the point. Uh, you did mention that the candidates or the accepted students without the TOEFL IBT can be accepted and do it in Istanbul later before they start their studies.
Mm-hmm.
They have to present something in the application to
Yeah.
show their proficiency, such as uh, the IELTS, even if
Yeah.
it's not accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you?
Yes, so
Okay.
an alternative evidence of English proficiency, it's important that the candidates upload something.
Okay.
And again, if they have marked that they are applying or have already been awarded or will be awarded the Ministry of Defense Presidential Scholarship, we know that we can, okay, we have we are cooperating with the organization so that we're going to say, okay, so for these candidates, it's okay to send the application for evaluation because later on we can provide them with a voucher to take the test here in Turkey, the TOEFL test here in Turkey.
That's good. What about the SAT or SCT? Is there any flexibility on that, or
I
it's a
really-
mandatory requirement?
that's a part where it is it's outside of our control because the deans, they have no way of knowing, for example, if the high school of each, so they don't know how grades are awarded in every high school around the world, right? So for example, this is a theoretical example. We have here in a group Ingabire and we have Caleb. So they may be
Mm.
coming from two different high schools in the country, and one of them is very strict about giving high grades. The other one is just giving them away. So in theory, they both have very similar good grades, but actually the one that has learned properly what they have to learn is only one. So but the deans do not know that, right? So that's why they want to see a standard test where everyone has taken the same questions in the same conditions and are then measured in that way. Yeah.
And that's probably, we did apply, we did have a couple of students apply this year, but they didn't get through. Maybe I'm suspecting that could have been the reason.
Yeah.
Not presenting the SAT. Okay.
Yeah.
And to be considered for the scholarship, do the students have to upload a letter requesting the scholarship, why they want it, or
No,
it's
not
application be
really,
evaluated?
not really. But as I said, if they want to include a motivation letter in which they say, for example, that about their career goals after graduation and how having a full scholarship would help achieve those goals and dreams that they have. If they're coming, from example, from a very disadvantaged background, and they may, for example, be the first person in their family who goes to university or who goes to university outside of the country, those kind of specific circumstances, and it is important to explain them in the letter because it can give the deans a better idea of who is the candidate besides the scores, besides the numerical information that they can see about the applicant.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Maybe the other meeting attendants can ask questions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So now my question goes on spring intake. You said that there's no spring intake for undergraduate. Can you
Yeah.
please explain for us when the time for undergraduate programs to start? Or
Yeah. So all new students in Turkey, they start their undergraduate programs in the fall semester. Fall means September, October. Okay. And by national regulations, we cannot take new students in the spring semester. Spring semester means in Turkey, end of January, February. So the fall semester goes between September and mid-January, and then the spring semester goes from early February until June. Then we have the summer break, which usually students, they go on holidays, they go back home. Some students do take summer semester courses if they want to kind of advance more quickly in terms of the curriculum, or if they've had to repeat a course or something like that. But most students, they just do 2 semesters every year.
So this means that we can apply now and our semester coming in September and October.
So to start in October, you apply at any point between January and July. So the last possible date to apply is 30th of July, okay? So it doesn't matter if you complete and submit your application on the 10th of June, on the 15th of March, it doesn't matter. What's important is that when you apply with a complete application pack, okay? So that you have your high school transcripts, that you have English tests or any English evidence of proficiency, and with an SAT test, okay? Those are the 3 most important things, and that you do your video interview. So if you need to wait a bit and literally wait until the last day of, until the 30th of July to submit your application, that's okay. That's important is that you have prepared and you have those documents by the time you apply, okay? If, for example, you have everything ready by March, let's say, and you apply in March, you will be notified, not in September, you will be notified about 6 weeks later. So by like mid-April, early May, if you have been accepted and if you have a scholarship. So the letter will say both things, if you have been accepted and if so, if you have no scholarship, or if you have a 25%, 50%, 75%, or a full scholarship.
Okay, thank you. Another question is about application fee.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please tell us if there is an application fee and how much it is?
Yes, so there is an application fee, which is 600 Turkish lira. Right now, that's equivalent to, I think, close to $20. Again, in some cases, we can waive the application fee. So what I would ask you is, if you are preparing your application, contact us. I'm going to type before I forget my email address here.
You can also let me know, then I can.
Yeah, exactly. So just let us know so that we know that you're coming specifically from this presidential scholarships group of candidates, okay? Did I send? Okay. So that we can mark on the system that you won't be charged the application fee to submit your application, okay?
We can also give you a list of all the candidates
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
who are going to apply, and then
exactly.
it's done.
We can check.
Instead
Yeah.
of each one requesting.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm having some issues of some issues of bad networks. So I'm missing some information. I want to be clear on this. Are we going to have any chance of applying before the next fall semester, which means maybe from today or in the spring semester for us? I think we are talking about the presidential cadets.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna have any chance to apply again, yeah, I want to know because I'm missing some information because of bad network. Thank you.
That's okay. So we have recorded all the previous, like the presentation, and I will be sending the recording link to Mr. Gazana, and he can then share it with you to kind of watch what we talked about before. But to summarize, we opened the applications on the 1st of January. So even if you tried right now to apply, you can't. The system is closed right now, okay? So we opened the applications on the 1st of January. So you can apply anytime after 1st of January and before 30th of July, okay? So that would be if you want to be considered for admission in the fall 2024 semester, meaning that you would start your studies in October 2024. We don't have spring admissions, okay, for undergraduate programs. We do for master and PhD programs in sciences and engineering, but for undergraduate programs, bachelor programs, We only have one time in the year in which new students start their studies, which is in the fall semesters, and the applications are between January and July. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Caleb. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have another question. Regarding SAT-1 exams. Can a person apply without SAT exams or it's a must?
That I wish you could, but no, you do need to take that exam and include it in your application.
The SAT can be taken here locally, so they can
Yeah.
take it.
I think one participant has their microphone.
Someone forgot to mute.
Someone called Signal. I know that's not your name, but Signal. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
My question is all about you told us that we are going to start to apply from January to July. I want to know the time of to have a feedback.
Yeah. So after you submit your application, it will take a maximum of 6 weeks to hear back from us if you have been accepted or not. Okay. So for example, if you apply on the 1st of January, you would hear back from us by mid-February, like by the second week of February. Okay.
Yeah.
So calculate that you will hear back in about 6 weeks. Okay. So if there are no other questions, then I think we can wrap up the session for today.
Thank you.
All right.
I had a question.
Yes.
The question was about that. Yeah, it means that the SAT-1 general, it's the most required document, I think.
Yes.
So meaning that our undergraduate studies also the diploma. It's less varied. Depending, you say that the most required one is SAT.
Okay. So if you have already completed an undergraduate degree, you can apply for another undergraduate degree. But let us know in advance so we can check first with the deans about this, okay? I think they will still want to see an SAT test score. But if you're interested in doing a master's, that's a separate process. So you can also send me an email and I can send you the information on how to apply to a master's program. But if you want to do a second undergraduate program and you have completed already one and you have good grades from that undergraduate program, of course, please include the transcripts and the diploma so that they can see you already completed and a first level, like a bachelor's degree. Okay.
No, the thing was like the scores of high school.
Okay, high school scores.
Diploma results.
Yes, the diploma results like of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the first thing you have to have is like SAT-1.
Yes, and it's a reason that I explained before because we get applicants. For example, this year we received applications from about, I think it was 70 different countries. So it is very hard for the deans to understand, okay, in X country, which ones are considered the best high schools that are very good quality in terms of teaching and so on, and which ones are not. So that's why they need some type of standard measure of readiness for university through this international exam like SAT, like SAT. Okay.
I get, I understand, because you say that that is the most required thing in order to evaluate our. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you did mention it before. The evaluation is holistic. So
Yeah.
multiple students can have the SATs and have same score. So if they have the same score, then they will look at the performances, maybe
In high
from
school,
their
yeah.
high school
Exactly.
transcripts.
Exactly.
So it's a holistic application and
Yeah.
evaluation.
And for example, for engineering, that college, of course, they're going to look specifically to grades in high school in subjects like mathematics and physics, because they will be needed. You know, they need to know you have a good understanding of the basics, so that when you start the university courses that require calculus, statistics, probability, you have a basic understanding and you can start to learn the next level, right? So that's why they will check that you have done, mathematics and physics subjects and what your grades were. And for example, if you did very well in social sciences subjects, but not that well in mathematics, but you made an effort and you got a very good score on the math section of the SAT, then that helps you, because then they say, well, they didn't have good grades in high school, but they show that they can understand the content through the good score they got on the SAT, and then, okay, they're ready to go to take university level courses in this. So yeah.
So thank you. I had another question.
Mm-hmm.
Last time when we applied, they sent us an email saying that there was a high competition.
The what?
So and there was high competition. Yeah, there was high competition, meaning like the number of students who were allowed, who got admitted. I think meaning that we didn't put the SAT scores.
Yeah.
That's the main reason why they say that there was high
Exactly.
competition.
So I showed at one point the kind of process. So there is a first eligibility check, right? So for example, every year the number varies, but we get about this year, for example, I think it was 2,700 something applications for our undergraduate program. So the group of students who are evaluated by the deans, it's smaller than that, because they want to see only those that have a complete application. A complete application means that they have the high school transcripts, the SAT test score, the English test score, and their video interview, okay? So anyone who doesn't have a complete application, that something is missing, and typically it is the SAT test score or one of the other eligible tests, then they are rejected. So that's why. So within that group of complete application applicants, then they choose, okay, which ones are the best ones, and then they make that decision on that basis. Okay.
And I think that's a polite way of rejecting you. So they don't go into details.
No, but it's, if you're not familiar with that admission system, of course you wouldn't know that. So yeah, so that's why I'm explaining it here. Okay.
You can also have a 4.0 GPA, and I once applied to MIT and I had high GPA. I think I was applying for masters, and I was given the same message. The application this year was highly competitive. Wish you good luck elsewhere or in the future. So it's normal to get that kind of message.
Yeah.
But I think what he was referring to was maybe he was expecting a message saying, hey, in your application, we could not give you admission because you were missing this. But
Okay.
we now know the requirements.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get the requirements right.
Yeah.
And get higher grades where possible to maximize our chances.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and one thing I want to also kind of give you a tip, let's say. Our scholarships are always going to be there, okay? They're not going to disappear in 2025 or later, right? So if you feel that you need to take a bit more time, than 5 or 6 months to prepare yourself to do really well on the SAT, take your time, meaning you don't need to apply for admission in 2024. You may apply for admission in 2025. For us, there's no age limit, for example. Like if you want to start your undergraduate degree and you're 25 years old or you're 18 or you're whatever, it doesn't matter. That's not a consideration, okay? That time you can use to do internships, to work and prepare yourself for admission to the program, and that's absolutely fine. The benefit of having an SAT test score is that it also gives you more options in terms of where to apply, not only to Koç University, but if you're thinking you would also want to apply for US universities, that's the standard test. And once you have that, it really puts you way above the majority of the candidates. So taking the time to invest in your, to prepare for the exam can pay off, not only in terms of the opportunities in our university in Turkey, but if you're thinking of applying to other countries as well for your studies. So that's just as a tip, right? So general advice, let's say.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you so much.
No problem. I do have to go, so I have children to pick up, my son.
Thank you.
So thank you so much again, Ingabire, Caleb, Mugisha, and somebody else who left, and Mr. Gazana as well. Thank you so much for organizing this. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. I will send the recording and the presentation after today, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.